Hello and welcome to this edition of Eat Right with Rouses. I'm your host, Keith Whiteside, licensed clinical social worker with Terrible Home Care. Thanks so much for joining us. However, you may be joining us, we are glad you're here. We're also very glad that April is here. We welcome in April Sins from Rouses. Hey, April.
Hey Keith, how's it going today?
I am well. Thank you on this joyful day. I love it. There in your kitchen as we
Yeah,
celebrate an important month here, right?
it is. October is National Pork Month. So it's a great time to talk about pork. And whenever people think about pork, a lot of people may think about sausage, ham, bacon, which tend to be some of the higher sodium
Yep.
items. However, there are some great fresh cuts of pork that are also great for being able to incorporate into a meal with less added salt. And there's also some lean cuts as well. So, what do you think about making something today? And I'm going to probably make you a little bit hungry.
I am always fine with that.
Okay. All right. So, we're going to be making a pork tenderloin. It's actually a Mediterranean pork tenderloin crostini. Now,
Ooh.
crostini is just a fancy word for using a little bread to slice and adding that pork on top. But I'm going to show you how I'm going to take this pork and basically marinate it and bake it. And this is actually not a long, it doesn't take a long time to make this meal. So if you go to the Rouse's meat department and you go to the fresh pork section, you're going to find some pork tenderloins. That's what we're going to be using today. But just to let you know, there are several different cuts of pork that are considered lean by the USDA. So pork tenderloin is one of them that we're using today, but also your sirloin pork chops, your New York pork chops, sirloin pork roast, and also if you could find some lean ground pork also as well. But there's definitely several types that you can choose from. If you have some fat on the pork, you can also cut that off on the ones that's not marbled, and that'll help reduce that fat. But what I
Mm.
have right here is I have a pork tenderloin that there's usually two in a pack, and this is one of them. I've put a knife cut right down the center of it so that we can basically sort of stuff it in there. Okay,
Mm.
so what we're going to be using for the stuffing in this pork tenderloin is actually going to be some roasted red peppers,
Mm.
and this goes great in a lot of recipes. So you could definitely use these roasted red peppers. You can also, if you want, you can puree them and kind of make it a little bit of a different kind of texture and stuff it in there as well. So I have that in there. We're also going to be adding in some fresh basil that I've chopped up, and we're going to reserve some because we're also going to be adding some at the end on the crostini itself.
Mm.
And then the other ingredient that we're going to add on top of this is going to be some Rouse's Parmesan cheese that I have right here, and just pressing that down in there. Now, before we put it in the oven, what we're going to do is we're going to set the oven at 425. But we're going to
Okay.
make a little bit of a marinade, kind of a sauce that's going to go on top. We're going to use some more great Rouse's products in there, which is going to be our balsamic vinegar. So we're
Mm-hmm.
going to add a little bit of balsamic in there, and this is just going to marry the flavors together. And we're also going to be adding in some Rouse's olive oil, which is always good. I use it, I think, every day. Pretty much, I use this in my cooking. And then also a little bit of garlic powder, a little bit of paprika for color, which I like to use in a lot of dishes, and then a little bit of salt and pepper you can add. And then what we're going to do is mix that together. We're going to add this on the top of here, and then we're going to bake this for about 30 minutes in the oven. Your internal temperature of your pork roast, you want that to be 145, okay? And so that is the perfect pork roast, pork tenderloin temperature. Now, once you have that done, then you're gonna once the it's roasted, you've taken the temperature, all of that is done. We can start making the actual crostini.
Okay.
And so I actually have one here ready, and so we're gonna cut this one open. Okay, so basically, you're gonna take some bread that you find at the Rouse's bakery, and you could just toast it in the oven and just cut them open like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to be adding some of that pork on top. But we're also have some goat cheese right here, which it kind of looks like butter. It kind of looks like sour cream, but it's actually goat cheese. And we could put that right on top. And then we could put a slice of our pork tenderloin on there as well. So, Keith, have you ever cooked a pork tenderloin at home as well?
I have. I have. And I know that we cook
Yeah.
pork to a little bit higher temperature than beef. And it's always good to know exactly what that is. So it's good to know that that 145 is what we want to get it to.
145. Most people overcook their pork. So
Okay.
if you've ever had it to where it's, oh, this is, tough and dry or something like that, it's probably overcooked. And so you definitely want to have a good kitchen thermometer in your kitchen. So that way you can make sure that you are roasting it to the right temperature and not overdoing it. And so it's always good to do that. And then I just cut a little bit right here. I'm going to add a little bit of my little basil leaf right here. And you just continue to do that until you have as much as you would like. But this makes a nice dish and really great, either appetizer. It could be a game watching food. It could just be, a little, make a little plate of this
Yeah. We can
to be
use
able to
it
have
for
with your dinner.
anything.
Yeah.
Wonderful stuff. April, we appreciate it very much. Of course, I'm hungry. So thank you for that. And thank you for joining us today. All right, guys,
Thank
that
you.
will do it for this particular segment of Eat Right with Rouses. Don't go anywhere. A lot more local programming right here on HTV.